When your cat sleeps with you, do you actually know what they're trying to say? Yes, it's adorable. But behind that closeness, there's something deeper that most people miss. It's one of the most emotionally loaded things your cat can do. And if you misunderstand it, which most owners do, you could be missing messages they've been trying to send for years. Stick with me until the end, because by the time we're done, you're going to look at your sleeping cat completely differently. You'll never see that nightly cuddle the same way again. Let's start with what that nightly ritual really means. 1. It was never about staying warm. So, why does your cat actually sleep with you? Most people assume it's simple. Cats get cold. You're warm. End of story. But here's the thing. Cats are incredibly resourceful when it comes to finding heat. Sunny spots, laptops, radiators, laundry fresh from the dryer. If warmth was all they wanted, they have options. So why do they keep choosing you? Because sleep is when a cat is at their most defenseless. Every instinct they have screams at them to find somewhere hidden, somewhere safe, somewhere no predator could reach. And instead, they walk past every quiet corner in your home and climb into bed with a human 15 times their size. That's not about temperature. That's trust on a level most owners never fully realise. A study in animal cognition found that cats form attachment styles with their owners, similar to how infants bond with caregivers. Researchers ran what's called a secure base test, the same kind of test originally designed for human babies and their parents. They separated cats from their owners for a few minutes, then brought them back together and watched how the cat reacted. The majority of cats showed what's called secure attachment. They were a little distressed when their person left, and they calmed down quickly once that person came back. That's not the behaviour of an animal that simply tolerates you. That's the behaviour of an animal that has built its entire sense of safety around your presence. When your cat chooses to sleep beside you, they're telling you something they can't say out loud. You make me feel safe enough to let my guard down completely. Think about what that actually costs them, biologically speaking. A cat's hearing is built to catch the faintest rustle. Their whiskers are built to detect the smallest shift in air pressure. All of that gets dialed down the moment they fall asleep. They are choosing, every single night, to trade vigilance for closeness. And they're choosing to do it next to you specifically. Not next to the heater, not next to the window, not curled up alone in the closet where it's quiet and warm and private. And by the way, if your cat ever suddenly stops sleeping with you, don't brush it off. We'll get into what that really means later on, and it's something most owners wish they'd understood sooner. 2. They're blending their scent into yours. Have you ever noticed your cat pressing their head or body against you right before they settle into sleep? That's not random cuddling. It's chemistry. Cats have scent glands along their cheeks, forehead, the corners of their mouth, and the base of their tail. When they rub against you, they're leaving invisible markers behind. Pheromones that carry information humans can't consciously detect, but that other cats can read instantly. But here's what most people don't realise. When your cat sleeps pressed against you, they're not just marking you. They're blending your scent with theirs. In the wild, cats who belong to the same colony share a communal scent. It's how they recognise family. It's how they say, "This one is safe," without making a sound. Feral cat colonies actually have a practice researchers call allo-rubbing, where members of the same group rub against each other constantly throughout the day, just to keep that shared scent fresh. It's a living, ongoing identity badge that says, "We belong together." When your cat weaves their smell into yours night after night, they're performing an ancient ritual. They're telling the world and themselves that you belong to each other. This is also why your cat might sniff you intensely when you come home from somewhere new. You smell wrong. You've picked up unfamiliar scents, unfamiliar people, unfamiliar places, and you've lost some of the shared scent that bedtime cuddle built up. Part of that sniffing is suspicion, and part of it is them restoring what went missing, re-establishing that bond at a chemical level. This is also why some cats get oddly clingy after you've showered, or after you've worn new perfume, or after you've come back from a trip. You've temporarily erased the scent bond, and their instinct is to rebuild it as fast as possible. Sleeping pressed against you that night isn't a coincidence. It's repair work. And hey, if this makes sense to you, smash that like button and subscribe. It's the best way to help us reach more cat people who actually care about understanding their cats on a deeper level. 3. They think they're your bodyguard. Ever wonder why your cat insists on sleeping in a specific spot? Maybe it's right by your head. Maybe it's near your feet. Maybe it's pressed against your back. That placement isn't random. It's strategic. Here's something that might surprise you. Even a small pampered house cat still carries the instincts of a predator. And predators understand threats. When your cat positions themselves beside you at night, part of them believes they're standing guard. This goes back thousands of years. In wild cat colonies, members take turns watching over each other during rest. It's not just about bonding, it's survival, and your cat, no matter how domesticated, hasn't forgotten that ancient code. Watch where your cat sleeps. If they position themselves facing the door, they're watching the entry point. If they sleep near your head, they're protecting your most vulnerable area, the part of you that, in the wild, a predator would target first. If they tuck themselves against the small of your back, they're covering the spot you can't see while you're lying down. They know they're small. They don't care. Something deep in their wiring says, "This human is mine to protect." Some owners notice their cat actually perks up, ears swiveling, at the smallest sound while everyone else in the house is dead asleep. That cat isn't being paranoid. That cat is on shift. Multi-cat households sometimes even show a rotation. One cat sleeping deeply while another stays semi-alert, almost like watches on a ship. Then swapping roles later in the night. Now, will your cat actually fight off an intruder? Probably not, and let's be honest, a 7-pound house cat is not winning that fight. But in their mind, they've taken a post. They've assigned themselves a role, and every single night they show up for duty. That's not nothing. That's loyalty expressed in the only language they have. 4. Every sleep position is a message. Does your cat curl into a tight ball, sprawl out like they own the bed, sleep with their back turned to you, or wedge themselves into some impossible gap between your arm and your ribs? Each of these positions is telling you something different. Let's start with the tight curl. This is the most protective position a cat can take. It shields their belly, tucks their paws, and keeps all vital organs hidden. If your cat always sleeps like this, they might feel safe enough to be near you, but not quite safe enough to fully let go. It's trust with a layer of caution, comfort with the seatbelt still on. Now the full sprawl, legs stretched out, belly exposed, maybe even upside down with paws in the air. This is the ultimate sign of security. A cat showing their stomach is a cat who believes completely that nothing bad will happen to them in your presence. They've let go of every survival instinct that tells them to stay guarded. The belly is the one place with no fur protection over major organs, no claws to defend it, nothing. Showing it is the feline equivalent of saying, "I have absolutely nothing to fear here." What about when they turn their back to you? Some owners take this personally, like their cat is being cold or distant. Don't. In the cat world, turning your back to someone means you trust them so much you don't need to watch them. It's actually a compliment, one of the highest a cat can give. And then there's the full contact press, when your cat sleeps pushed right up against you, sometimes wedged into impossible spaces, squeezed between your arm and your torso, or curled into the crook of your knees. That's the strongest statement of all. They want zero distance between you. That's not clingy, that's devotion. There are a few more worth mentioning too. Sleeping on your chest, right over your heart, is one cats often choose because it lets them track your heartbeat and breathing directly, the most reassuring rhythm they know. Sleeping with one paw draped over you, sometimes called the hug, is a possessive gesture, almost like they're keeping a hand on you so you don't drift away in the night. And sleeping under the blanket, tucked completely out of sight, isn't always about temperature either. For some cats it recreates the feeling of a den, fully enclosed, fully hidden, fully safe. with the added bonus that you're right there too. 5. They change their schedule just for you. Have you ever wondered why your cat seems to wake up when you do and wind down when you go to bed? That's not a coincidence. It's a choice they made for you. Cats are naturally crepuscular. That means their bodies are wired to be most active at dawn and dusk. It's when their wild ancestors hunted. It's when their instincts tell them to be alert, not asleep. So, by nature, a cat's schedule shouldn't line up with yours at all. A cat following pure instinct should be bouncing off the walls at 5 a.m. and 9 p.m. and dozing through the middle of your day. But bonded cats do something remarkable. They override their own biology. Researchers studying domestic cats found that cats living closely with humans gradually shift their sleep and wake cycles to mirror their owners. They stay awake longer during the day. They sleep more deeply at night. Not because it's natural for them, but because that's when you're available. Think about that for a second. Your cat's entire internal clock, built over thousands of years of evolution, gets rewritten just so they can spend more time existing in your world. That's not a small adjustment. That's a fundamental rewiring of instinct in favour of relationship. This is also why cats greet you at the door, or show up right before your alarm goes off, sometimes to the minute. They've learned your rhythm. They've synced themselves to it. Not out of habit, out of preference. Some owners even notice their cat adjusting on weekends, sleeping in a little later when they do, or getting restless earlier on days when the household wakes up early. That's not a fixed body clock. That's a clock that has quietly recalibrated itself around you. 6. They feel your stress before you do. Ever had a rough day and noticed your cat suddenly won't leave your side? That's not a coincidence. They knew something was wrong before you even said a word. Cats are incredibly tuned into the people they're bonded with, and science is starting to prove what cat owners have felt for years. Your cat can read you better than you think. Studies show that cats can detect subtle changes in human behaviour, body language, and even scent. When you're stressed, your body releases cortisol. Your movements shift. Your breathing changes. Your voice carries a different tone, often higher and tighter than usual. Your cat picks up on all of it. They don't know why you're upset, but they know something's off. This is why some cats become extra affectionate when their owner is sick, anxious, or grieving. They're not just being sweet. They're responding to real signals you're giving off without realizing it. Some research even suggests cats can pick up on the scent compounds released through human sweat during high-stress moments, compounds that are different from the ones released during calm, relaxed states. And here's where it gets even deeper. Sleeping beside you gives them a front-row seat to your emotional state. Your heart rate, your restlessness, your breathing patterns. Night after night, they're gathering information. They're learning what your baseline feels like, the normal rise and fall of your chest, the usual rhythm of your pulse. And when something shifts, when you toss and turn more than usual, when your breathing gets shallow and fast, when your muscles stay tense instead of relaxing, they notice. That's often why a cat who normally sleeps at your feet will suddenly migrate up to your chest or your face on a night when you're anxious. They're not choosing comfort for themselves, they're moving closer to monitor you. 7. When they suddenly stop, listen closely. What does it mean when a cat who always slept with you suddenly stops? This is what I mentioned earlier, and it's something every cat owner needs to understand. If your cat has been sleeping beside you for months or even years, and that suddenly changes, don't ignore it. Cats are creatures of habit. When they break a pattern this significant, they're trying to tell you something. Sometimes the reason is physical. Pain, illness, or discomfort can make a cat seek out solitude. Cats instinctively hide when they don't feel well. It's a survival mechanism left over from the wild, where showing weakness in front of others, even trusted others, could make you a target. If your older cat suddenly wants to sleep alone, a vet visit is worth considering, especially if it's paired with changes in appetite, grooming, or energy level. Conditions like arthritis, kidney issues, or even dental pain can make a cat quietly withdraw long before any other obvious symptom shows up. Other times, it's environmental. A new pet, a new person, a change in routine, even rearranged furniture can be enough. Cats are sensitive to shifts in their territory. Something that seems small to you, a new sofa, a house guest staying for a week, a baby crying at night, might feel massive to them. Their whole sense of safety is built on predictability, and anything that disrupts that predictability can make the bed feel like a less secure place than it used to be. And sometimes it's emotional. Cats remember. If something startled them in the bedroom, a loud noise, an argument, a fall, a slammed door, they might pull away to protect themselves from that space specifically, not from you. The key is paying attention. Your cat chose to sleep with you because they trusted you completely. If that changes, they're not being moody. They're communicating. So listen, watch, and if needed, gently help them find their way back to feeling safe again, with patience, consistency, and no pressure. Forcing it usually backfires. Letting them return on their own terms while you stay calm and available almost always works better. 8. The twitches, sounds, and dreams you sleep through. Have you ever watched your cat sleeping next to you and noticed their paws twitching, their whiskers flicking, or a tiny muffled sound escaping them? That's not random nerve activity. That's a dream. Cats, like humans, go through REM sleep, the stage where the brain becomes almost as active as it is when awake, even though the body stays mostly still. During this stage, a cat's brain replays the day. Researchers studying sleep in cats have found patterns of brain activity during REM that closely resemble what happens during waking hunting behaviour, suggesting cats really might be dreaming about chasing, stalking, or playing. Here's the part that matters for your bond though. Cats that sleep deeply enough to dream, paws twitching, body fully relaxed, are cats that feel completely secure in that environment. A cat who is even slightly on edge won't drop into deep REM sleep easily. They'll stay in lighter stages, ready to snap awake at the smallest disturbance. So if your cat is sleeping next to you and actually twitching through a dream, that's a quiet but powerful sign that your presence allows them to fully let go. All the way down into the most vulnerable stage of sleep there is. Some cats also make tiny vocal sounds while dreaming. Soft chirps, little mews, even what sounds like a half-formed meow. Owners often laugh it off as funny, and it is funny, but it's also worth appreciating for what it represents. That sound only happens because your cat trusts the room enough to let their guard all the way down. 9. Where they sleep on the bed says almost as much as the fact that they're there at all. We've talked about sleep position, the curl, the sprawl, the back-turned trust position. But the actual location on the bed, or in the room, carries its own layer of meaning too. A cat that sleeps right at your pillow, near your face, is often the most attached. The one most focused on monitoring your breathing and your scent up close. A cat that prefers your feet might still be deeply bonded, but slightly more independent, wanting proximity without full contact. A kind of I'm here, but I still want my own space arrangement. Cats that sleep on a specific side of the bed every single night, the same side, night after night, are often marking and remarking that exact spot with their scent glands, turning it into a personal anchor point within a space that's really yours. In multi-cat households, this gets even more interesting, where each cat chooses to sleep relative to you and relative to each other, often maps directly onto the social hierarchy and relationships within the group. The cat who sleeps closest to you might be the most bonded, or it might be the most socially dominant, claiming the prime real estate. Cats lower in the pecking order sometimes wait until the more dominant cat has already settled, then quietly take whatever spot is left, often farther away, or even on the floor beside the bed, rather than on it. Watching this play out over a few weeks can actually tell you a lot about the relationships your cats have, both with you and with each other. 10, bringing it all together. So when you really break it down, every part of that nightly ritual is doing something. The choice to sleep next to you instead of somewhere safer is trust. The pressing and rubbing is chemistry, an ongoing project of belonging. The positioning near your head or facing the door is instinct repurposed into protection. The curl, the sprawl, the turned back, the full contact press, each one is a sentence in a language your cat speaks fluently and you're only just learning to read. The shifted schedule is biology rewritten in your favour. The sudden clinginess on a hard day is empathy you didn't know they had. The twitching paws mid-dream are proof of how deeply they can relax around you. And the spot they choose, night after night, is a small, quiet vote for where they feel most at home. None of this is an accident, and none of it is something your cat consciously sat down and planned. It's instinct, biology and bonding, all working together, expressed in the simplest possible act, choosing to close their eyes next to you. So tonight, when your cat curls up beside you, or sprawls out belly up without a care in the world, or wedges themselves into some impossible gap between your arm and your side, take a second before you fall asleep yourself. You're not just sharing a bed. You're being told, in the only way they know how, that you are safe, you are family, and you are exactly where they want to be. If this changed the way you'll look at your cat tonight, let us know in the comments which sleep position your cat uses most. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos like this one.